Maneva na sema PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de osia dem yopo.
Blessed, let me say good morning to you and to our cherished viewers. And it's been a while.
Yeah.
Finally, I'm back.
Oh, you're back. Okay.
Yes, I think...
so why are you smiling?
I'm observing.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
Blessed, I think last 2 weeks you showed footage on your station. That was somewhere in 1995 when there was a flood in Accra and Rawlings was in the flood leading the people. And 31 years after, we are back to the same situation at a magnitude that is more devastating than what we even witnessed under Rawlings. For me, I think that is quite problematic. It's some sort of a system failure on the part of successive government, because over the years, when it comes to sanitation, sewage systems and keeping our drains clean, it has never been a priority, because the bottom line is that we are always looking at where we can cash out in terms of political capital. People don't see the need to invest money in areas they cannot, cash political capital out of it. So it has never been a priority. And for me, that's the reason why we are still wallowing in the pool of some of these challenges that we very often pop up when it rains. So at this point in time, realizing the need to hold the bull by the horn and take pragmatic measures, not just reactionary. Very often what we see is like a state on a pain medication, just to keep the body numb and high, because there is a disaster right in front of us. So when the president gave the directive, willingly, everybody transformed himself into a willing participant going forward to participate, because fresh on their minds, there was a tragedy. But the question is that going forward, if it is not backed by any comprehensive policy plan, at the end of the day, would people be willing to show up in the next 1 month, in the next 2 months? The answer is no, because we've had instances in the past where such declaration had been made. People came out for the first time, second time, then it ended. You understand? So for me, it's a good initiative by the president. And when I saw a lot of people getting involved, it was quite refreshing to see that indeed Ghanaians are willing to help in enterprises like this. But going forward, we need to come up with policy. That will be very demanding. That will come out with a certain supervisory, so that people will have that in their mind, that maybe on every quarter, every Friday, like the last Friday of every quarter, this is what we are doing, so that we have it on our calendar. So you will not be in a situation where if you are willing, you come out, if you are not willing, and again. I think we need to build drains. All these things you see, the major solution is building an extensive sewage system, because if you go to the big cities out there, beneath the road are extensive sewage systems. So when it rains, automatically it drains off. If you look at our road, there is no space. There is absolutely nothing. Even if you look at some of the gutters they construct, it's so sometimes you may not be an engineer, but when you see some of them, then you feel that something is actually wrong. And again, at this time and age, I wonder why we still do open drains. Because when it floods and gets full, that is where the spillover comes in. But if it is covered, there will be no spillover, whatever it is. It will manage itself and then get
Probably that's what Ernest was talking about, that elsewhere, when you're constructing the road, you're mindful of the sewage system.
Exactly.
But is it that we don't have the money, or it's just poor planning?
No, it's poor planning, and it has never been a priority. Because if you go to some of the advanced cities, in America, for instance, on their major road, you can just open a hole within the road, go about 20 to 30 kilometers. That is a sewage system, very extensive. And when it rains, definitely it will take care of the water and those kind of stuff. But in our part of the world, I'm not sure we have any. Quite recently, we've constructed a lot of big roads here. Circle quite recently. Look at the amount of money we pumped into that particular project. But at the end of the day, you saw what happened yesterday. Yeah, I can admit that the water we had the last time was something nobody anticipated. Yes, but you see, the devastation could have been, to a certain extent, lessened. You understand? So I hope we learn lessons out of it, because when 3rd June happened, we said to ourselves, we made a lot of promises. We were going to do that money started flowing. A lot of money. The last time I checked, from 2017 to date, we've had almost $600 million for the purposes of constructing drains and those kind of stuff. But the question is that those monies were pushed into certain perverted enterprises, certain perverted, kind of, the money didn't go in. I know that some ended up under the bed of some people and those kind of stuff. But up to now, nobody has even done a thing about it.
Who?
But you know the story. You know the Cecilia
Well, we're not
story.
able to prove now that whatever it is that you're talking about, as a result.
But the case, the special prosecutor took the case up back and forth. You see, she's not the only person. I'm saying that it has been a decade-old challenge. Over the years, you can flip the clock and go back to the past.
Yeah.
A lot of monies have been coming, not just the Cecilia case. There are a lot of money that have come into this country, over 600 million and still counting.
But we just have to stress that we're not assuming, because we don't have the facts now, that she's culpable of any offense. We don't have that.
I'm only making reference to the public information. You understand?
Right.
Because
we just have to.
Exactly.
To issue that disclaimer.
No.
Yeah, it's very important.
I'm making reference to
what about the case? What's safe for us to talk about is Garrett and how lots and volumes of monies have been counted. That's what you were talking about.
I'm not saying waste money, but at the end of the day, monies were found. In instances like this.
I'm concerned about the money expended on
money.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not flat money, but money is
Garrett. I'm concerned about Garrett.
Unexplained money.
Government is being accused of not using the funds properly, the Garrett fund, because if we're deploying that, we shouldn't be seeing the kind of floods we're seeing.
Oh, exactly. That is the point.
I spoke to the former minister in charge of local government. He was with Dr. Baumia the other day, the MP for Teshiman South. Yes, I was speaking to him. He seems not to be really happy with how government's not deploying the funds, Garrett funds.
And I think that the donors will be worried where those monies are coming from, because you see, the whole thing is that they've realized there is a problem, and in plain part to
because June 3 was the source of that.
Exactly, but the money comes in, then we push it to other perverted priorities. We don't use it for the intended purpose. For me, that is the problem. And when it comes to flood drain and those kind of stuff, let us be honest with ourselves and ask if we have any substantive policy on it. There is absolutely nothing. So it has been always reactionary. When it comes, then we need to do something just to, for people to see that we are actually doing something. But in reality, when it ends, when this season ends, everybody in this country is going to forget about rains or drains and whatever until next year comes and we come to the same arena. I think we need to move beyond the talk and then come up across the political divide. Let us elevate this conversation beyond the frontiers of politics, come together and tell ourselves that we have failed as a country going forward. These are some of the pragmatic policy kind of initiative putting up just to ensure that it's not just about distributing money to flood victims, but it's about constructing deep drains, building sewage system, and also when it comes to waste management, whether decentralization or whichever way that we want to do it, we make sure that even if it is given to a private company, we make sure the state take a vested interest in it and make sure people actually do the work. The companies who have been outsourcing of these things, the major problem is that the company will become rich and the poor people who will be on the street doing the dirty job are being handed a paltry amount. At the end of the day, there is no motivation on their part to do anything. You understand? So for me, even if we end up handing over to private enterprises like we've been doing, government need to take vested interest in the arrangement or discussion. Government need to take the side of the other people who will be doing the work so that it becomes some sort of a viable, comprehensive policy option that will have a future and with some guarantees. Not that it's just about the money, we just throw money. At the end of the day, if you are asked to account for them, because if you go back as far as 1995 up to now, monies that has been designated for these purposes, if you ask successive government to account for them, nobody will be able to account. You understand? I only mention this one because it's fresh on our memory. But the fact is that if you go back to whichever year up to now, there is absolutely nothing. So for me, I think that these things we saw yesterday, we've seen it before. Yes, it's good initiative. The president was involved. Everybody was involved. Ghanaians willingly came out to participate. That was quite refreshing. And he also re-invoked that sense of passion within Ghanaians that they are willing to do that. But going forward, on their own, people will not willingly come. We need a policy, an actionable policy plan that will dictate, that will prescribe what has to be done, and then punitive sanctions and consequences must also be lowered to people. For instance, there are military men going around town pulling down buildings. Yeah, that is good. But the question is that many of the people who built in the so-called waterways, who gave them the permit to do so? So at the end of the day, if we just pull down the building without looking for the people at the assembly who gave out the permit, I have never heard anybody in any assembly who has been sanctioned for issuing unauthorized permits. So at the end of the day, these things are not punitive in us. You understand? So we need to learn a better lesson by making sure that we establish the conventional red sign in the sun. Whoever contravenes any of them faces the sanctions. Else we will be talking and come back next year and be doing the same thing. Nothing will come out of it. Yeah.
And that's why I want to hear from you on enforcement. Is it that we don't have enough laws on the books, or probably the councils are also not enforcing a lot of the bylaws, because we need the bylaws as well?
Yeah, thank you for having me today. I think for a country like Ghana, when you go through our statute books, it will be very difficult to say we do not have the laws in place. We do have the laws in place, but I think what has been the problem over the years has been a total neglect of responsibility by those who are most responsible for ensuring that these things are done properly. And also, I think, a lack of education and sensitization on the part of the people on holding those responsible to account. For example, when we see flooding every time, and it takes the president to wear his boots and step into the waters to show a sign that we have to do something about the flooding, then it's a problem that we have to seriously go back to the drawing board to address. We have a number of district, metropolitan and municipal assemblies in this country, and they are responsible for certain catchment areas, right? And so if there is any flooding in those communities, the first person the first people we need to look at to blame should be the municipal assemblies. What have they done? They have been issuing the permits for people to build in the waterways. They have taken their eyes off their duty, allowing people to dispose of refuse in gutters and all of that. So it is a systemic problem that I think is being engendered by the lack of responsibility on the part of those in charge, and also the lack of education on those who are usually affected by the flooding.
I was speaking to the AMA on the fine regime that they have. They seem to be paying people around 400 cedis or less if you report an individual. What's the allowance in law? Because that amount is not enough. If it's just 300 cedis, it's not deterrent enough. I could do that over and over again just to pay the amount. So what allowance do these people have in law?
So before
the assemblies, yes.
Before I even answer that question, I need to say that almost all the policies, the mechanisms in place to address these issues by the AMA are very, very dysfunctional, right? When you look at how Accra has been mapped out, I am very confident to tell you that there are a lot of places in Accra that the authorities of the AMA and other municipal assemblies do not even have their boots there to know what is going on. Right? And so if there is rain and someone at some other side disposes of refuse in any water body or any gutter, there is no way the AMA gets to know. There is no way the municipal assemblies get to know. So they need to go back to the drawing board and know that there is a problem. Right? We need to know every building in Accra, every part of Accra, every gutter in Accra, every place that there is the possibility that people dispose of refuse even when it is not raining, right? Because we have mentioned that some of these gutters, we need to have an open drain. We shouldn't have an open drain. But most of these gutters, the reason why they are choked is because the deposition of refuse at a point where if you don't take care, if you close all gutters, by the time the rain comes, the water will not be able to move at all. Right? So it's a systemic problem that we need engineers, we need those who understand these issues to possibly sit down and come out with a policy.
So you feel enforcement alone will not solve this? Because just as Ivan was pointing out, the enforcement aspect ought to work properly, efficiently. Yeah,
enforcement will work properly, but you see, if you look at only enforcement and then you don't look at the prevention, sometimes it also creates some inconsistency in policy. And let me actually say this. You see, I'm always surprised when issues like this come up, and then we want to put the blame on those who have been depositing refuse in the gutters. I do not take that approach. I believe it's the duty of the government and it's the duty of the municipal assemblies, which are also parts of the government in the local areas, to address this issue. We have to begin from the point that people will always breach the law. People always want to take the easy way out. People always want to take the most comfortable way out. And for most people in these areas, the most comfortable way out is by waking up, it is raining, deposit the refuse, and then let it go, because he or she has to pay some money to the assembly for disposing their refuse. That's the easy way out for these people. There must be a policy to address it, to make it uncomfortable for people to do that, and repercussions for people who are found engaging in those acts. But like Ivan said, after the rain stopped somewhere in August, there will be nothing done about this again until next year when there is another major rainfall. And then even in that moment, if you arrest 5, 6, 7 people, you prosecute them and you go back to sleep, and people are depositing this refuse from August till next June, you do not wake up in next year June and then expect that the gutters are not already checked.
But the assemblies, I was asking about the remit of the law and what it provides them. Is it that they can't increase the amount? Because I was telling Gilbert the other time, if you increase the amount, more and more people will report, at least we'll get more money too.
Yeah, I think there's a possibility for them to increase the reward they give to people, right? And that can be done. But I honestly do not share the view that will solve the problem. Because when I watch
the sanitation courts are not, they don't have too much power, you say?
No, they do have the powers. But the issue is it's difficult finding the people who are engaging in those acts because the AMA's eyes are not everywhere, right? But the other thing is, when you watch the videos of where people are doing this, it is like a community thing. So who is going to report who in that community? It's not like when the rain comes, only one person wakes up to go and do it. When you watch the video, it's almost like the entire community wake up to go and deposit their rep. So who is going to report who for the 400 cedis? And mind you, when you go and report and something is done about it, the cost you incur a month or in 2 months for paying the AMA to collect your refuse may exceed the 400 cedis you have received for reporting someone. So if you calculate your cost, you're unlikely to go and make this report. That is why the AMA must move away from the 400 cedis and take a more extensive approach. All throughout the year, there must be mechanisms in place to ensure that these issues are being checked. There shouldn't be any, for the want of a better word, fallow period within which nothing is being done, and then we come up in June to arrest people.
Okay. Doctor, the point about what your party says, the NPP released a statement, I think a day to the exercise, indicating that all Ghanaians must come on board and that the party was going to support this exercise. Are you seeing that nationalistic picture in this 2-day period? The exercise will continue today in the whole sanitation exercise, the cleanup exercise. We see the president there doing quite a lot.
Well, the NPP has always been nationalistic, and the party that introduced free maternal health care to help every nook and cranny in the country is nationalistic. The party that introduced school feeding program to benefit any child, irrespective of your background and where you are located, is nationalistic. The party that introduced NHIS to benefit every soul in the country is nationalistic. The party that introduced free SHS to benefit every school-going child.
So why? What's the problem?
Country.
He's stating the facts.
I see.
Yes. It's nationalistic. I do not expect Solo to agree with me. I do not expect him to agree. So obviously, if you look at our track record and what we've served the Ghanaian with, obviously we are nationalistic.
Right.
And we would not take the position of our colleagues on the other side who would storm out of parliament when NHI bill is being passed. We will not take the position of our colleagues on the other side who would tell Ghanaians that it's impossible to implement free SHS. When something comes and is beneficial to every Ghanaian and it will help our society as a whole, we would wholeheartedly be a part of it. And even before that, we saw our flag bearer who visited the flood-prone areas and commiserated with the people and followed up with some donations of relief items to the people. And he gave a very nationalistic interview when he spoke. And contrary to what we've seen over the years, where political leaders, in their desperation to win political power, sees every issue as a political capital to amass. Our flag bearer said it's a national issue that needs to be solved nationally. He didn't toe the line of our current president, who in opposition made it a political tool and placed the blame squarely at the forefront of them president and government, only to come to power and tell us that, oh, contrary to what I claimed, that it was the responsibility of the president and failure of the president. Today, we are seeing floods because Ghanaians are indisciplined. We would not take that line. So clearly, the flag bearer led by example, Dr. Bawumia, and the party leadership followed up with a release.
I didn't see him on the streets yesterday, or he will join today.
It's not everything Dr. Bawumia does that necessarily comes out, I mean, in the open. I believe as nationalistic as he is, definitely, either yesterday or today, he would definitely take part. And when we believe that certain things should come out, obviously, they will come out. We are not a party of settings. We are not a party of gimmicks. We are not a party of optics. So yes, we don't engage in those things. So as and when appropriate, those footages would come out. We are here mainly because of June 29 and the unfortunate lives we lost. At this juncture, let's once again send our condolences to the people who unfortunately lost relatives and lost their lives. Just around where my church is, at Mile 7, there was a report of 3 people losing their lives on that fateful day. And a colleague virtually lost everything in his room. You know, he was away taking care of someone's place for her, and only to come back the following day and realize that the room has virtually been ransacked by the rains. He lost everything. All that was left for him was his mattress, who was almost 3/4 wet. So you can understand the extent of the problem. And we are told over 80,000 people have been displaced. That's the magnitude of the challenge we have. So as much as we seek to do some of these things, let's also bear in mind that people have lost their lives, and let's continue to remember those souls that we lost in the disaster. And it's a failure on the country to fail these people. The country failed to protect them, and it's the reason why they've lost their lives. Those families who have lost individuals have lost those individuals because the country failed to protect them. The Ghanaians who have been displaced, about 80,000 to 90,000 people who do not have a place to sleep, who have lost their source of livelihood, have gone through that trauma because of the failure of the state to protect them. And it's good to come up with such communal services. And over the years, Ghanaians have been very patriotic and have been very community-oriented to have come together in such situations and helped ourselves clean and be there for one another. It's about sustainability, and it's about our methods and policies towards sewage control. Driving from Achimota to this place, along the gutters, even from last night, heap of sand, heap of refuse, still by the gutters. Had it rained last night, or everything that we did yesterday would have been cost 90.
That's been the challenge.
It's good we come out and do these things, but the most important thing has to do with direct policies that would stand the test of time. I don't believe that we will wake up every Friday and go on such expedition. I do not believe that we woke up every Saturday and go on such expedition. What rather would help us and help our cause as a country is to have a well-tailored policy towards refuse collection and refuse management. In the mornings, if you are driving solo, by the roadsides, the aboboyes occupy almost 1/3 of the road every morning. And the question you ask yourself, where are they actually even sending those refuse to? How many landfills do we have in the capital? Are they even engineered landfills? Or they are open
disposal.
Yeah.
And the cost that comes with such acts, the environmental pollution we end up with in our quest to even properly dispose of our waste, and the effect on lives and the economic value of that effect, we are yet to even calculate those ones. So Joy News reported, just about an hour or two after the cleanup, the heap of refuse at Circle, Joy News reported. So let our efforts not be in vain. It's good to show that, we are seeking to do something, but we all know that the sustainability is questionable. And if the sustainability of the cleanup exercises is questionable, then it tells us that we are only doing as much. At the end of the day, we need to come together to clean our environment. But what will sustain us is deliberate policies to make sure that our refuse and sewage management is done with the best of technology and to meet the best of standards.
And fortunately, there's an opportunity, another opportunity, because it's a 2-day exercise. So possibly the authorities are listening and they might want to pick up, those heaps of refuse that we still have in parts of the city. So you've seen parts of that.
Yes, there is a huge one.
But I want us to look at the policy, because we've not spoken much about policy. I was introducing the area of Garrid to Ivan earlier, that Garrid appears to be quite a resilient project, except to say that the funds we've put in so far is not yield. Well, I stand to be corrected. I don't know if you've seen significant improvement in flood readiness and all of that. Why is that policy not working? What kind of policy will work?
Well, we have abused that funding. We use it for, in the short term. How do I even put it? The long and short of it is that we misuse those funding. And I'm beginning to have a second look at the World Bank itself as being an institution aiding corruption in our part of the world. Because you can't tell me that World Bank, you have given us loan, you understand? And the loan came as a result of the June 3rd, 2015 issue, when the country lost about 150 people. And then the government of the day wrote to the World Bank that we believe we need some levels of development in terms of our drainage to desilt it so that we do not face the same issue again. You understood and granted this country huge sums of money. Now we are told $103 million have been utilized out of the $350 million.
But is that not a fact?
It's a fact, but if you go into the breakdown, who can convince me that you will use $22 million out of that to do training? What sort of training? And the World Bank is happy.
Yeah, but that's not their problem. It should be our problem.
So if you are a World Bank and you come and create the impression, recently, they created the impression as though the current finance minister is the reason we are experiencing the why, because he's not releasing the funds as he's supposed to. And I'm saying that you as the World Bank must be concerned that $103 million have been released, yet it has no semblance of what is actually happening on the grounds. You must be concerned if you really mean well for the people of this country.
So if you go to the bank for a loan to buy a car, you expect that bank to maintain your car for you?
So I don't expect that bank to come and tell us that all is well. You understand?
Well, they're not telling you all is well. They're telling you the funding is there. You ought to deploy that.
That is why I'm telling you that you must have a second look at that body called World Bank, because it is very easy for us as a country to always reference them. The World Bank said this.
What's wrong with the World Bank telling you there's funding available?
The World Bank is saying
there's funding available.
But the World Bank should have added that the $103 million that they have expended, only $11 million has actually gone into the project.
Was it the
country Ghana? But we are corrupt. But you need me to tell you that we are corrupt.
But I'm telling you, what's the business of the World Bank?
But my difficulty with them is that they have created the impression as though the monies are being utilized in the right manner.
Purposes.
You understand? So if you have a finance minister who sees that problem.
Have you seen any audit infraction on the disbursement?
Don't let anybody confuse you with technicalities, audit here and there. The reality is on the ground. We went for money to construct drains, to get people out of the waterways and stuff. We have not been able to do that. Yet, $103 million of that money is gone. Why do you need anybody to convince you again?
Audit.
Who the auditor, does he have sense more than anybody? We are seeing the thief feeling, I don't say audit. We are seeing that there is a whole outrage. You come and tell me audit. No. That is why I believe that as a country, we must begin to go after people that we entrust our destinies into their own hands. This whole exercise, honestly, anytime I see a president, a minister, a chief in a drain or gutter removing refuse, I consider the country as a failed state. Why must a president go and remove refuse? Why? You tell me.
Leadership by example.
What leadership? Leaders are supposed to, as it were, nominate or appoint people that are efficient. The time that the president is supposed to use to be signing documents and to be thinking about the welfare of this country, or the premier. How are you going to survive that?
So what are you saying this morning?
You are in this country in 2021, 2022. We said, Operation Clean Your Frontage. Were you not in this country?
Yeah.
Where did he lead us to? In 1995, we have recounted. In fact, when Jerry Rawlings came, he was among those that were laying the railways and stuff.
Where just about pointing you to those examples, that leadership by example.
It is not example. It means you are failing because you are supposed to put in place structures, institutions, and in that institution, remember in our country, every government position, top enough, the person is what? Appointed by the president. Is that the case? So it is your duty to appoint people that can help you achieve your dream.
What the president is
can you imagine today, this time, the president should have been at the office thinking aloud about how to deal with myriads of problems. Something that is supposed to be done by the assembly is being done by the president. If I were the president, I saw the Greater Accra Regional Minister there.
Yes.
The local, by the time I leave, the hairs will roll. What job are you doing? What job? How many places can the president go and clean? How many places? Let's be truthful to ourselves. I hate it. Anytime I see that, I say, what are we doing to ourselves? Because you have your assemblies as far back as 1988.
This is the most followed individual, politically speaking, in the country.
You want your president to be going around to be collecting rubbish for you? Is that what you want to reduce your president to?
No, but he was voted to solve a problem. So if part of it is
he's supposed to solve is to get the right personnel in place. If these ones are not helping you,
this is the most followed political individual in the country,
yes. And that is why
I mean, majority.
I don't want him to reduce his brand. Let me tell you, we have been doing this one too many. Anything happens that you see leaders. The last week when I came here, I told you that what flag bearer of MBB did was totally needless. You were arguing with me. Yesterday, I saw a video of Jerry Ahmed within his constituency.
Yes. The constituency is asking for food.
No, you had a woman.
Yes.
Why do you think the woman was asking for food? Because immediately after the flood, then you had the flag bearer of the MPP go around and create. You said compassion. You were telling me.
Yes, compassion. Yes.
So you were going with food.
Yes.
Now the woman believes that but anytime you people come around, you bring food. Where is your food, Jerry Ahmed? He said, oh, that is what you do to politicians. But your political godfather Baumia started it. Show the way that people.
So now it's a crime to give food to show compassion.
That is why you go with the sustainable action plan. You go with the sustainable solution. And we have it. We have the institutions. When you go to every locality, you have what we call unit committees. The unit committees are supposed to work together with the assembly members and convey development within their unit to the assembly proper.
Yes.
Now the assembly proper, you deliberate. When things are not going well, you have the right to make your bylaws to deal with the issues. Issues of sanitation fall squarely within the assembly.
But so
you are not working
I mean, we'll have challenges with you. If it comes to sanitation contracts, they're allocated nationally. You should be mindful of that.
Assemblies,
so if you're saying that the president has no link in terms of accountability, that's questionable.
You said what?
The sanitation contracts are not giving at the district level.
No, they have. Why
they're giving at the national level by the local government.
Assemblies have the right to give their contracts.
Yeah, I get that, but it's in practice. You do know that.
So if the system
it's happening at the national level, so you cannot absolve the
Why should the local government minister sit in Accra and be giving contracts in the locality? Why should he be doing that? So it means the system is not working. If the system is not working, you go back and make sure it works.
Decentralization.
We introduced decentralization as far back as 1988. 38 years down the line, we are still doing this business. No way. We must be telling people the truth, that we are not going anywhere. I had a woman being interviewed, said, it is because of those of you in the Jubilee House. Any small thing, when we want to act, they say, oh, someone called you from the Jubilee House. Powers from above. What sort of life is this?
So people are calling from Jubilee House?
That was according to a woman who works with the assembly. That we want to act. You understand? It's not as though we don't have the blueprint. We have it. but the implementation and this fourth Republican dispensation, the policies of the day is not helping us. You go to the community, the sanitation inspectors, they want to act, but you know I voted for this party. You voted for the party, so what? And no, they don't have the courage to confront the issues. Go to the Dansuma area, the Lafa area. An individual has been able to create his own dumping site and collecting money from innocent people, blocking a whole waterway. Individuals, they see it, nobody is able to confront that person. And when it rains, it's flooding. Then you and I come and sit here and talk about it and say today, tomorrow. Today, tomorrow, what can we do? After cleaning the drains today and tomorrow, what happens next? I just told you that 2021, 2022, we did what we call operation clean your frontage. Where did it lead us to? So we must act, do what is right. We have 6 metropolitan assemblies. We have about 109 municipal assemblies. We have 149 district assemblies in this country. What are they doing?
So President Akufo-Addo is vindicated, isn't it? That when he says he doesn't, as a president, have to put in funds into places when you know too well that you still repeat the same mistakes you're repeating.
No, but that is why you are chosen as a president. You are supposed to act.
Yes, so the president is acting. You have a problem with that.
No, but this is not acting. You have your lieutenant.
So what's he doing?
How many times you see commanders?
What's the president doing now?
No, the president is trying to create the impression that we must clean our environment. I'm saying
and that impression you say is
this is not sustainable. And something that's not sustainable, you don't start it. You must get your structures working, Mr. President.
In fact, it says there's a possibility that we may be considering some days.
Wait, how many times have we launched it? I mean, in the past, the first Oko boy, Oko Vanda boy. We have been doing this. If you went to Kumasi, Nana Kwesiagma, this is, he did it severally. Why did he lead? We need a plan. And we need to put the efficient people there, not party apparatchiks. For Christ's sake, I came to tell you the last time that go and check the notebook, what we have done to it. This MPP and this politics, it must end at a point. But this one is the first warning. You know, this one is it has killed about what, 130, which is official figure. I'm telling you more. Next year, you behave in this manner. We will die, all of us.
So, I will not die. I will leave.
Because you don't want them to solve the problem. You want to leave.
I will leave.
You will live in this field.
Yeah.
So
the Bible says I will not die. So I won't.
The Bible says so.
Yeah.
The Bible that says so. Say,
yeah.
Okay.
You understand? I'm sorry. I don't understand that one. Okay.
So the point is that, what I'm saying is that the president has all the tools. He has the power to appoint and disappoint. He must get us the right personnel to fill the various assemblies. This is not beyond this. What we are seeing is not beyond. And you know, like your Kobia was saying, trash is actually cash.
Yeah, £150.
Yeah, it's cash. If you have to do it,
that's good money.
Yeah. When was the last time you saw any container within your vicinity? From the United Party's perspective, we believe that every area must begin to have a collection point of refuse. Say you put about 3 or 4 40-footer containers there, so that in the morning...
It used to be the case.
Yeah, now they have stopped. We should go back. Because these tricycles that we are talking about, they collect money from us. And let's make it clear that it's not as though people do not pay for refuse in this country. Everybody pays, about 90%. They pay, but the refuse do not end up in the appropriate places. So as a government, you just have to regularize it, make sure that you get the most out of it. Right. And then it is kept properly. People are doing fertilizers and other stuff with it. We are here and we are suffering from it. What sort of life is that? What sort of life is that?
Ivan, what sort of life is that?
Yeah, brother. For me, I think if you take politics out of this whole thing, you come to a point that...
But why are you all saying we should take politics out of it? I feel that... You can't take politics out of...
Politics is part of it, but what I'm saying
because
is that...
you need the direction. You need the...
No, I am not saying we should take... Yeah. I'm saying that if you take the political contest out of this... The political contest out of it, you come to a point that we are not serious people. That's my point. If you take the politics, because we only make this argument relevant because of the political contest. If you take the politics out of it and come into a social realm, you realize that we are very unserious people. Because when you spoke to the gentleman in the UK, he told you they buy. Because today there is a technology that does what you call the WTE, waste to energy.
Yeah.
You understand? So they are not just buying because it's beautiful. They are buying because it's going to be converted into something.
Generates power.
Exactly.
Energy.
So these are some of the policies, options that we should avail ourselves to. You understand? When you watch the disaster, There was a particular house that was flooded to almost the roof of the building, and people were shouting, calling fire service to come. And I'm saying, what route are they going to use to come? Together? Because even as a country, we are not even ready to buy even helicopters for some of these emergency kind of, because in such situations, cars become immovable. Because the National Service person also has his home flooded. And some of them cannot even swim. They don't even know how to swim. There was a lady who got flooded, and they needed somebody to enter into the gutter and bring the lady out. It was a gentleman who went in and told them,
I think that's around
right. He said, if you don't give me money, I will not bring
3,000 dollars.
So
3,000.
He was charged, and I agree with you. Should have charged 10,000.
So not more. Fire service. I'm told they go through training and those kind of stuff. So nobody could have gone in to bring that particular. So it tells you the political dimension when it comes to some of this recruitment and those kind of stuff. When party comes, oh my people, then we just dip them in. When it comes to the actual work, they are not. They can't do it, you understand? Yeah. So we have failed. For me, I think we need to pat ourselves at the back and tell ourselves in the face that, Charlie, we have failed going forward. Let us come with a certain policies that have a face of pragmatism that we are actually dealing with. Sitting here, I'm a policy person, and my problem is that when problem comes like this, that is why we are able to weave proper policy, because any good policy can never be created out of a vacuum. You look at the problems, use it as a building blocks. So you use it to weave the policy addressing the challenge. You understand?
I'm just mindful of time, so probably if you have any, Council, do you have any further comments to make on this?
I think I'll just agree with Sulu and Ivan. And when you look at some of the roads constructed recently, you can clearly tell that although the engineers build gutters, nobody really knows what the gutters are meant for. Nobody really knows it. And so once the engineer leaves site and the road is handed over to the state, you see all manner of things in the gutter. And you see police officers standing by directing traffic. You see all the people that need to do something about this, and nothing happens. And I have to say this. You see, it is a problem that in my personal view, I do not believe we can lay squarely at the feet of the ordinary Ghanaian. Walk through Circle, and I'm telling you that you can count, and you may not even find any refuse bin throughout Circle. And so there's
nowhere to even dump.
Exactly. So if I buy water like this, and I am going to be at Circle for a long time, or walking around, it's possible I may have to hold this throughout my walking around Circle. So I may look here and there, and if nobody's watching, I just dump it somewhere. Right. If the city is serious about addressing these issues, these are petty issues that the states must have in mind. Do we even know where all gutters lead from and where they lead to? You'll be surprised we don't know. And so there are certain portions of certain gutters that where the gutter starts from, nobody knows what is being done at those places. We only know where it becomes a choke point, right? The assembly must be able to trace all gutters and must be able to visit these places occasionally, not just once when the rain is coming or when the rain comes. About every week or 2 weeks, we should be able to go to this place and ensure that the gutters are not choked before the rains come. So it requires intensive planning, and the assembly must be ready to do the heavy lifting.
Doc, what do you expect from the anti-flood task force? I believe that's how they called it.
It was part of the optics and the gimmicks of these governments. And last week or so, we heard that there's a new appointment. So, a new military personnel has been appointed. To lead what?
Some buildings are earmarked for demolition.
As part of the flood thing, right?
Yes, part of the measures.
So you had anti-flood task force, which was launched last year March, and from all indications, it's a failure. It's a complete failure. Let's not even mention it. I mean, the moment you mention it, Ghanaians get disappointed.
Even if we do some demolition, along the water.
We were told there was an anti-task committee, flood, whatever committee that had been formed. And up to this point, we've not seen a single benefit from that committee. It's a complete failure. Let's move away from it. The moment you mention it, there are 36 or 37 official records, those who have died. I don't think the families want to hear about any anti-flood task force that was set. The over 90,000 people that have been displaced, I don't think they want to hear about any committee that was formed last year March and has done virtually nothing. My friend, who was displaced from his home and could not find a bed to sleep on, I don't think he wants to hear about any anti-flood
in total,
task force.
39 people died.
The official.
The minister says some people are still unaccounted for.
That's what we are told. Let's put it that way. The point of departure from Solo's submission, I expected him to And he did not disappoint. It's the fact that in speaking of disasters and such situations, one of the immediate steps is relief items. My friend that has lost...
Are you advising Jerry Ahmed?
My friend that came home and found nothing in his room.
Yes.
That person at least needs a mattress. If you went to Alajo and the women were wailing and virtually telling us that, you know what, they've lost everything. And they were even pleading for Honorable Henry Kote to come back and save them. That woman who was...
Oh, really? That's what the women are saying?
Yes, that's what they said.
Wow.
And I think it was from Joy, one of the reporters.
Yeah.
Also, let me finish.
Are you uncomfortable with the name?
No, let me finish. I am relaying what... I am relaying, Solo. What I'm relaying the account of the Alajo women who were calling on Honorable Henry Kote to come and save them. And I'm saying that in the midst of such difficulties, one of the first measures we need to take is relief items. So Dr. Bawumia showing the way and helping people out in such situations is never a bad idea. I do not expect Solo to at least agree with Dr. Bawumia what he does.
He's showing compassion.
But really, what Dr. Bawumia did was in the right direction. In the end, what has been concrete and unanimous in all our submissions here is the fact that it's good to clean, but it is not sustainable. What is sustainable is to find proper measures of dealing with our waste. And we spoke of energy extraction and all that. Engineered landfills can give you that.
Of course.
Because when you heap up and you pile up the refuse in the dugout, it is forced to go under certain biological degradation. And the end product is a very, very, very good yet harmful gas called methane, which in other countries, they lay pipes underneath the landfills to provide and extract the energy. So there's a golden opportunity in it. But of course, I mean, politicians will blame government of the day when issues come up, only to come to power and tell us that it's rather the Ghanaian who is indisciplined. Then go ahead and set up anti-flat task force who will virtually do zero, only to come back and tell us that, you know what, let's go back and clean.
All right.
I'm very happy that you could tell President Akufo-Addo when he went to Canada that Ghanaians are generally indisciplined. When you were, as a matter of fact, had the power to deal with the indiscipline that was in the system.
Oh, he said that. I don't have the quote. So you have to give me evidence of that.
Solo get us the quote.
I need evidence.
Solo get us the quote.
Canada, he said that, look, how can I continue to give them? We are indisciplined. I said, but Mr. President, for Christ's sake, you are the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. You are talking about indiscipline? What I'm saying is that the relief items that you are talking about.
So you still want to talk about relief items?
Because I knew it was not sustainable. What have we been discussing this morning? Sustainability.
You can't.
So I was telling you.
It's giving you grounds. I mean, it's giving you practical grounds for which...
Jerry Ahmed. Jerry Ahmed went with that relief item.
Did the woman reference Dr. Bawumia?
But he saw Dr. Bawumia.
Did the woman reference Dr. Bawumia?
Meanwhile, as we speak, the people of Samraboy, through one of their leaders, have written to me that I should forward it to any MPP member that I see here.
MPP?
That they need relief.
That they need a relief.
Oh, that's good.
But because it happened to them.
It's good. Bring it. I'll channel it. Bring it.
And the people of Kita have also written to Tobe, that
they need relief. Oh, of course. So, because they don't trust the government to give them relief.
Because they know you can't do that.
They don't trust the government to give them relief.
Because
they're writing to you to reach out to the MPP. Are you still a member of the MPP?
No. Because you were telling me last week.
In his heart of hearts, he's MPP.
So the people say, the way you were saying compassion, the man is a very compassionate.
Oh, he's very compassionate.
And so, some boy experience.
Why would they come to you and not go to Dr. They know Dr.
Oh, they don't give freebies.
Yes.
And that is why I said that because it was not sustainable, it was a wrong move. Thankfully, just less than a week, Jerry Ahmed was nearly slapped.
Part of first measure when it comes to such situations is to provide temporary relief.
Okay, guys.
Bring the letter from someone.
I'll just tell you that your party is becoming, as the Ghanaian would say, chisel. So please go out, go out and give.
UP doesn't want to show compassion.
Your party dues. Solo, you are enjoying on your party dues and you're not giving it out. That's the advice I'll give.
You've not gone.
Anyway, so let's do this.
To the people.
Let's move on to. Let's move on to some other stories because we have a lot to discuss this morning. Okay, should we do the? Okay, on a lighter note, I think we should do the project Akukon Kiti Kiti before we go. Before we talk about the legal issues. So just brief. So he would break all of that down.
Yes,
we'll get your views. Yes. So for the project, the minister has been speaking about that project. Probably what I want us to do is to watch the video. Just watch what the.
PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.